A long-awaited Spider-Punk knockoff is finally here, but is it any good? Let's find out! Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're gonna take a look at the new City Toys knockoff of the SH Figure Arts Spider-Punk. This is a figure that they first showed us as a prototype last year in 2024, and then there were no updates on it. So we thought that they cancelled the project, but now, over half a year later, they finally released it. Before moving forward, I want to say a big thank you to the guys from City Toys for sending this figure for a review. If you want to get your copy, you can do so over the link in the video description. Links for all other available City releases are there as well. Okay, first a quick look at the packaging. It's a standard City Toys box, and I actually have the original SHF right here, and you can see that all the logos and names are missing on the City box, but the overall design is almost the same. As an illustrator, it was interesting to me to take a closer look at the two illustrations, and I did notice that the City version, although similar to the original, is not actually the same. Someone redrew all of this, but made it a bit softer and less detailed. Of course, it's a knockoff, so that's what we should expect. They use the same promo shot on the side of the box, but without the writing, and you can see that the City Toys box is slimmer in comparison. Back of the box again imitates the original packaging with some nice poses. Other side also shares the same design, minus the writing. There's nothing special on the top of the box. On the bottom we have a close-up shot of the character with an unmasked head, but now let's open it up and let's take a look at the figure. Here is City Toys Spider-Punk out of the box, and I mean, I was impressed with all the small details on the original, and I'm equally impressed by how City managed to copy all of that on this KO. Sure, you'll be able to spot the difference between the two figures when you have them side by side, but seeing this City copy on its own, it's very impressive. I have to point out that straight out of the box, I didn't have any issues with loose joints on this figure. Everything is nice and sturdy, and the figure feels good, it doesn't feel cheap. Spider-Punk is around 15.8 centimeters tall to the top of his head and around 17 centimeters tall to the tip of his tallest spike on the head. His lanky proportions fit to how the character looks in the movie, and he's also nicely painted. Taking a closer look at the details, starting with the default head, the eyes are asymmetrical as they should be. Web lines are also off-center, and that's how it is on the original as well. His spikes are painted silver and they are made out of a softer plastic, so they are slightly bendable. Although do be careful because their tips could be a bit sharp. Same goes for the spikes on the jacket. And same as on the original, the jacket is glued to the body. It's not removable. Here we have all of these pins and all the silver buttons and zippers here and here on the pocket, and everything is really well painted, although softer than on the original. Here is a look at the back of the jacket with even more pins and the spider logo saying FNSM or Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. He has his choker around the neck, and that is a removable piece. Then he has his torn blue shirt, and here is a closer look at the arms. Here on the shoulder you can see that the tone of red is a bit darker than on the rest of the body. Again, it's a KO, these things are to be expected, but these blue lines are nicely applied on the arms. And then we have his belt with these straps hanging down, and then the pants with a gray web pattern and all these printed drawings on the front and on the back. This is all really well done. And finally we have his high boots with blue laces tied around the shins. So in terms of the details, this is a nicely made copy. Now let's take a look at his accessories. And here we get all the same accessories that we get with the original, and the one missing accessory that also doesn't come in the original set is the stand. We are not getting a display stand with this guy, which is a shame because usually City Toys give us a display stand with their every Mayfax knockoff, but when it's an SHF knockoff like this one where the original doesn't come with a stand, City Toys does the same thing. So the first thing that he comes with is this small dimension traveling device that goes around his wrist. Then we get a total of 7 pairs of hands. We have a pair of relaxed hands already on the figure. Then we get a pair of open hands that can serve as wall crawling hands. Then we get another a little bit different pair of open hands, a pair of whipping hands, a pair of gripping hands, fisted hands, belt, and a pair of guitar playing hands. And speaking of guitar, here is how it looks. This is beautiful. I love all of the printed details here. Everything turned out beautifully. And here is the back side of the guitar, and the strap can pop off of the pins here, so same as on the original. And then we get an alternate neck piece and an unmasked head. And this turned out pretty good. Look at this. This is a knockoff, and look how good it looks. The sculpt is beautiful. Look at the texture in the hair. The face turned out great. Look at all the jewelry painted silver on the ears, the nose, the mouth, above the eyebrows. Yeah, this turned out great. Let's switch it onto the figure. We pop off the head. We can take the choker off, pop off the neck, put the alternate neck on, put the choker back on. Does it fit? Yes, it fits. And then the unmasked head. And yeah, this looks great. They really did an amazing job. This is yet another great copy. Switching out the hands is also fairly easy. We pull this one off and you can see the wrist peg, and we can give him the guitar playing hands. We give him his guitar, and this is how that looks. Perfect. Let's now take a look at his articulation. The head and the neck give you a nice range of movement. The head rotates 360. It has an amazing side-to-side tilt. This is how far he can look down, and this is how far he can look up. He has a nice butterfly joint, and this is how far the arms can go across the chest. So, unfortunately, not much. And then this is how far they go across the back. There is a little bit of drop down in the shoulders, as you can see. Arms rotate 360. This is how far they move out. We have a bicep swivel, double jointed elbow, a swivel in the wrist, and a hinge in all directions. There are two cuts in the torso. The jacket is glued to the upper part, and so it doesn't hinder the movement. And with these two cuts, this is where we get our side-to-side rotation. You can see the clicking sound that we get down in this lower joint. We get a nice side-to-side tilt. This is how far he can bend forward, and this is how far he can bend back. So leaning back is limited. He has drop-down hips, and this is how far legs move out. This is how much they move forwards and back. Forward has a much better range because back the leg hits into his butt plate. We have a thigh swivel, double jointed knees, a swivel in the ankles, but the feet move forward only slightly, almost nothing. Back is a little bit better, but forward you almost get nothing. So that could be an issue for standing, because this guy could fall over really easy. So be careful with that. We have a nice toe hinge and a nice ankle pivot. So other than the leaning back of the torso and the feet bending forwards, everything else is pretty good in terms of articulation on this guy. Let's now compare him to some other figures. And we're gonna start with the comparison to the original SHF figure, and you can immediately see that the original is much taller, much bigger than the CT copy. I've already reviewed the original, I've made a posing video for it. Both of those videos will be linked down in the video description in case you want to check it out, especially if you want some posing ideas for the original or even for the CT toys, because the articulation is practically the same. But obviously the size is different. He is taller and a little bit wider. And also, even though I just said that the articulation is the same on both of these guys, I feel like the original has a slightly better range of movement for those feet in terms of moving forward. It's easier to put him in a simple standing pose like this than it is to do the same for the CT toys. Here is a comparison of the two head sculpts, CT toys on the left and the original on the right. You can see that CT really did a nice job. It is really similar. The original is obviously a bit crisper. You can see the details on the jacket, all of these silver buttons and zippers. All of those are much crisper and sharper, while the CT toys version is a bit softer. But those are the differences that you see when you have the two figures side by side. And you can see on the choker that obviously the original choker is much better. The buckle is much more realistic than it is on the CT version. Here is the arm comparison, and then here is the back of the jacket. The logo on the CT version is a bit more fuzzy in comparison to the sharpness on the original, and then here are the legs. The boots have a slightly brighter red color on the original, and then here is a comparison of the art on his pants. While CT did a great job trying to copy the original, original, original is still much sharper and cleaner in comparison. So there's that. But again, obviously, you don't see those differences unless you have both of the figures side by side. We can also compare the two head sculpts. This one is the City Toys copy and this is the original SHF. And you can see that in this case, City really did a great job copying the original SHF. This is really similar. Of course, again, seeing them side by side, if you want to, you can probably find that the details of the face are a bit cleaner on the original, but for a knockoff, this looks fantastic. And then we can compare the two guitars. This is the City Toys version and then this is the SHF original, and look how similar they are in terms of the sculpt and in terms of paint. They really do look like the same thing. The details are just slightly sharper on the original, but the difference is really not that noticeable. And even the size of the guitar, the City Toys version is just slightly smaller in comparison. I mean, really just slightly smaller. They are almost the same accessories. Another great job done by the guys from City Toys. So there you go, that was the main comparison, but now let's see how he scales with some other figures. Here's how he scales with two more City Toys knockoffs. On the left we have a knockoff of Mafex Scarlet Spider, and on the right we have their knockoff of the SH Figuarts Spider-Man 2099. This was actually my first ever City Toys figure that I ever purchased, and obviously I have a review and a posing video for both of these copies. So if you're interested, check them out, links are in the video description. Here's how he scales with the original SH Figuarts Gwen and Miles, and here is where his height would become an issue for some people. He is still slightly taller, mostly because of the spikes on his head, but it looks like these three kind of have the same height. It could be an issue for some people, but on the other hand, you can always play with the perspective on your display and it could fit. So in case you can't get the original and you want the City Toys version, I think that with a little bit of creativity, this could still work. Here is how he scales with the original Mafex Peter B. Parker and the original Sentinel version. Here he is next to the original Mafex 185 Spidey and Daredevil. Here is how he scales with City Toys 185 and 075 Spidey. And then we have him next to the City Toys knockoff of Revoltech 2.0 Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man. Here he is with Marvel Legends Symbiote Spider-Man and Maximum Spider-Man. Here we have him with City Toys Brown Suit Wolverine and City Toys Agent Venom. Here is how he scales with Star Wars The Black Series Vader and Stormtrooper. Here he is with NECA TMNT movie Raphael and Masters of the Universe Revelation He-Man. Here is how he scales with NECA Feral Predator and Savage Crucible Veteris Repax. And finally, here he is next to YOLO Park Transformers AMK Pro Series Optimus and Starscream. So there you go, that was my review of the City Toys knockoff of the SH Figuarts Spider-Punk from Across the Spider-Verse. It's a really well-made copy and its only downside is that it's shorter than the original release. We know that all the new City figures will be the same size as the originals, but as mentioned at the beginning of the video, this figure was designed back in 2024, so that's why it's shorter. But other than that, it looks great, it moves nicely, and it comes with all the accessories as the original. If I had to point out one minus about this set, for me it would be again the missing stand. We are not getting a stand here, and I know we didn't get one with the original either, but I feel like City could have made that one extra step and include one of those stands that they give us with their every Mafex copy that they make. That would be a nice bonus for this set. Unfortunately, they didn't do that, but this is still a great knockoff, and in case you don't have the original, I do recommend that you get this one. Once again, a big thank you to the guys from City Toys for sending this figure for a review. In case you want to get this copy, all the links are in the video descriptions, so you can use those. But you've heard my thoughts and now I would love to hear yours. What do you think about this figure? Do you like it or not? Do you plan on getting it? Let me know all of it down in the comments. As always, a huge thank you to my Patreon and channel members for their support. If you can also join and help, please do so, links are in the video description. And of course, to all of you guys, thank you so much for watching, thank you for being here with me, and I'll see ya in the next video.